You're welcome to another episode of Questions on the Minds of Singles. And those kind of questions you would love to ask as a single and that you don't really have answers to. Those questions on your mind that you don't really have answers to. Of course, Olusegun Mokuolu is here on his channel and he will be answering some of those questions. And so just relax and as you go along with us. And I hope you have questions. You have answers to all the questions in your mind today. And so welcome to this channel.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now introduce yourself.
Oh yeah, my name is OWOLEWA Judith, and of course, with this first question here now, what are those things I need to put in place before I get married?
Are you talking as a man or as a woman or generally?
Generally, as a single brother or a single sister, what are those things I need to put in place before I get married?
There are different sides to life. There
Okay.
are spheres to life. We have our physical being, we have our socio-economic being, and we also have our spiritual being. At least before anybody would think of getting married, you must be physically mature to get married. If you marry a lady that her body is still in the process of forming, this will give her complications and health challenges. It's also important that you are born again, at least as a child of God, you are mature in the Lord, you are rooted in the Lord, you can live with another person with the love of Christ, and then you have some form of social economic activity going on in your life. This is not the rule because would you say somebody who has been called to be a missionary in some remote place should not marry? What should that person have in place to be married? That person will not be able to build a house, buy a car, even have a job, and yet the person will marry and God will sustain them. So we must be careful in saying conclusively that, oh, people must have this kind of job, this level of income, and so on. When I was getting married, and I'm not exaggerating what I'm about to say, I don't have 5,000 naira in my account. And I don't know what that is in dollars. Uh, I'm sure it's maybe around $10 to $15. I didn't have that in my account. I remember a friend of mine who sent me 5,000 naira, and that was the beginning of my wedding. And I had to use that to make phone calls, begin to inform people about it, make decisions. But you see, in the end, God provided. See, we are God's children. We are not just people of the world.
Yeah.
God is mindful of our lives. Okay, now I had a job. I'm a civil servant, but if you understand how the economic runs, it was just difficult to have savings and so on. But in the end, God pulled through. We spent millions, but the Lord supplied everything. So, physical maturity, socio-economic stability, and most importantly, maturity in Christ Jesus.
Okay. In courtship, how do I handle sin in courtship? During courtship, how do we handle sin during courtship?
When you say sin, I guess you are trying to say sex.
Yes, sex, basically.
Basically.
Yes.
One, if two people are getting married as Christians, they must be born again. Now, what does all of these things entails? Before that person comes into your life, you have been living a righteous life. You have been walking in holiness. Just continue in it. Really. The major problem, you see, is not so much of the sex, is the fact that some things are not settled in our heart. You see a sister that she knows that, okay, this thing is sinful, but somehow she has convinced herself that, see, I'm going to marry this person. I'm not going to lose this person because I can't open my leg. So let me just do this, and we'll be fine in the end. We'll marry, we'll be okay, and so on. For the brother, it could be that he has not dealt with lust in his heart. Some brothers, they avoid women. Now, avoidance is different from overcoming. You may be running, fleeing here and there. The Bible says we should flee. We should truly flee. But he also wants us to overcome. He says sin will not have dominion over you.
Yeah.
That means that even if you are with a lady, you are still fully in charge. You are not going to lose yourself and so on. But most importantly, if the two of them both fears the Lord, want to honor the Lord, they won't even have a problem with that. They won't even struggle with it. It will just be a normal thing. They are in a relationship. It's unfortunate that many have not experienced having that kind of relationship because it's not because of the other party. It's because of you. If you don't give in, it won't happen. If you don't ask for it, it won't happen. So you can't blame the other party. You have to be responsible. Bible says we should flee fornication. So we have to flee fornication. But of course, you may take some guide based on your understanding. If you feel that, you can't stand just sitting down with a lady like I'm sitting with you, if you feel you can't do that, so don't just sit down. But basically, we must overcome sin in our hearts. Unless we do, every other thing is just cosmetic, and eventually most people will fall. But God is able to keep us. We must just settle it. If you marry somebody, if the person is born again, he will have the fear of God in his heart. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, and to fear God is to depart from sin. So,
All right, thank you very much. And the next question is, to what extent can I discuss my past with the person I'm going to get married to? To what extent can I discuss my past? Even after I'm going to discuss my past with the person I'm getting married to what extent can I discuss
there
my
is no
experience?
rule to such things.
Okay.
It really depends, particularly if that past is going to have effect on the future.
All right.
If as a lady you have had abortion and it could have impact on your womb, you may need to disclose that. If as a man you have joined occultism in the past, you may need, because it could have some effect going forward. So the person may know so that you can both deal with it together. But basically, there is no rule. God will give you wisdom. Some information may not be necessary. For example, if you are not a virgin, you are no longer a virgin. Your spouse may want to know that, why are you not a virgin? What happened and so on. So you could preempt that, and simply part of your own normal story could be, okay, I've had 3 boyfriends. I wasn't born again. We were having sex, lost my virginity at this age and so on. And it's good to do that at the onset because it helps the person to make up his mind.
Yeah.
But when you now disclose it later on, or you pretend you are a virgin and then the person marries you and discover that you are not a virgin, you are creating problem that you may not be able to handle. Okay, so it depends on your spouse, it depends on the circumstance, it depends on the past, the structure, the nature of that past, and ultimately whatever God is laying on your heart to share with your spouse.
All right.
To be.
Thank you very much. Now, for this question is somewhat controversial, so to say, because for culture, we got different persons with different cultural backgrounds. Now, if I want to get married, and for maybe I'm a Yoruba lady, for instance, and of course, I'm going to get married to let me use this as this instance. An Igbo lady coming to get married to a Yoruba person. And this man, of course, the cultural pattern of Yorubas is different from the Igbos. And so now in the Yoruba setting, the wife has to call the younger brothers or sisters of the husband to be maybe aunties and uncles. So how would the Igbo lady deal with this cultural pattern of this Yoruba husband to be?
Well, you must always have at the back of your mind that we are dealing with Christians.
Okay.
We are dealing with kingdom marriage, people who are born again. We are not talking marriage generally. We are talking of marriage of the children of God. So you may have been born Igbo, you may have been born Yoruba. What is most important is that you are reborn to become born again. Once you become born again, your culture and everything is relegated.
Okay.
the culture of the kingdom takes over. Now, that doesn't mean you don't recognize the culture of people around you. But if the husband is of the kingdom, the wife is of the kingdom, they won't have that issue. An Igbo lady, Yoruba, it's because of the language. You say, Bodatunde, Bodashegun, and so on. Now, Igbos don't have that. So you won't expect her to be calling that. But if she feels that she wants to respect her husband's family, this is what they do. That's part of the cost. When you are marrying somebody, you must understand that person lives in a cultural setting. Even though you are both born again, people around him may not be born again. So wisdom would demand that as much as it lies within you, live at peace with all men. Be able to deal with them as much as possible in their own context, as long as it's within you. But it shouldn't be a problem between the husband and the wife. And as long as there is no problem between the husband and the wife, they really don't have any problem. People may not like her. Family may have issues against her, but she's good to go as long as the husband and wife are one and they are not divided. They won't have any problem.
All right. Thank you so much. And I'm sure a lot of us have been able to get answers to some of those questions on our minds today. And of course, we'll be continuing this series next time. And so please, I would like to thank you so much, sir, for being here for us to be able to answer all our questions. And thank you once again for listening. We'll continue next time.
Yeah, you can share this video with others. That you may want to consider subscribing to channel so that you can see Judith, so that she can answer, she can put some of your questions to me all the time. Incidentally, we don't rehearse the questions. I don't get to see the questions until we are live during the video. So please feel free. You may want to consider subscribing to the channel.
Yes.
We want to thank you all for watching. God bless you. Bye.